penultimate preseason games from sunny Seattle. It's Climate Pledge Arena, and the Edmonton Oilers and the Seattle Kraken, who will play their final preseason game, will clash in a matchup of Pacific Division rivals. The Oilers have dominated the 3 regular seasons in which Seattle has competed, winning 6 in a row, 9 of 11. This is preseason tilt number 7 for the Oilers, and it starts with a face-off from Adam Henrique against Manny Beniers, and we're underway from the Emerald City alongside Bob Stauffer. I'm Jack Michaels from our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth location high atop Climate Pledge Arena, set down from street level. A couple stories. Of course, Henrique flanked by Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown, who has the puck behind the Seattle net and whirls it around to Brett Kulak, who starts the game with Josh Brown on defense. A centering pass was tipped away by Beniers. Henrique will keep it down low, and now Brown tried to sneak it inside, where it's collected on a deflection by Brandon Tanev, who jumps up and plays on Seattle's top line tonight due to an interesting situation developing in the pregame warm-up as the Oilers clear through the middle. Jared McCann, Seattle's top goal scorer the last couple years, 29 a year ago, he tweaks something, lower body, unable to go. Tanev moves up, and John Hayden enters as a fourth-line left wing for the Seattle Kraken with a breakout pass up the left-hand side of the 6'7" Jamie Alexiak. Darnell Nurse making his preseason debut for Edmonton, playing alongside Travis Dermott. A turnover by Jeff Skinner and a quick feed down low to one of the 2 prized offseason acquisitions for Seattle, Chandler Stevenson. Does not pan out, though. Draisaitl the steal, got it back from Skinner, and he's over the line with Arvidsson. Tried to curl it back to Victor Arvidsson, and now it's chipped up the right-hand side by Alexiak and fielded by Andrei Burakovsky, who's one of several Seattle forwards looking for a bounce-back season after their shooting percentage collectively dropped from 11.5 to 9 last year. The end result, a game under 500, and it cost Dave Haxtell his job. Matthias Ekholm on a reset for Edmonton. Your starting lineup for the Oilers, with Ekholm and Bouchard getting a quick shift to begin the game, brought to you by our friends at Coventry Home. Shane Wright for the Seattle Kraken, and the one-time 4th overall pick with a shot steered aside by Olivier Rodrigue, who makes another save on a shot from Will Borgen, and that's grabbed by Connor McDavid. Up the right-hand side, he'll feed it. Hyman's centering pass finds Ekholm left circle, a quick shot, and that was tipped up over top and taken on the plexiglass, and Hyman will be whistled for a hold as he ragdolled Eli Tolvanen to the ice. Time of the penalty, 2 minutes, 17 seconds. It's Jack and Bob and Coventry Homes, of course, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers, offering flexibility within reach. Get back in the game with customizable designs by Coventry Homes. Hyman for a hold. Bob, we talked about what Edmonton might bring to the table tonight in terms of a full lineup, and essentially outside of Philp and Kajula, you can make an argument everyone in the lineup tonight has a chance to play a week from tonight against Winnipeg.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Travis Termott in on a PTO. He needs to be signed, Jack.
Correct.
But you're talking about
But he still has a shot.
They all got a shot. I'd say Phelps got a shot, too. We'll see
to
here.
play against Winnipeg. Okay.
Never know.
He certainly had a strong preseason. The Oilers on the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill to start. A length of the ice cleared by Darnell Nurse. That's fielded on one bounce. Nurse, Ekholm, Nugent Hopkins, and Derek Ryan are the penalty killers. Ryan, of course, playing in his home state. Grew up in Spokane, a couple hours from Seattle. Twisted back to the point by Beniers. Shot Bjorkstrand, and a save made by Olivier Rodrigue, getting the chance to play tonight because Calvin Pickard got banged up when these two teams met on Saturday night. Edmonton rallied to win that game 5-4. Pickard left about 10 minutes in. Here's a quick dish. Bjorkstrand is shot, juggled, and held for Olivier Rodrigue. It's his 4th preseason appearance. He's played to a save percentage of .833. What's on the line for him tonight? Olivier Rodrigue, I'm talking about.
And you could say similar to Philp, right? If you're not on the team here day one, you're sending a message for the future that you're an option. And, Rodrigue's, clearly now the organizational number 3 goaltender. We know that. He needs to have a solid performance.
Shane Wright, clean face-off win. Burakovsky to Montour, the other prized off-season acquisition. 7 years, $50 million for a guy who was instrumental in Florida's Stanley Cup win over Edmonton last June. Henrique off the draw to Victor Arvidsson. Talented and dangerous penalty killers coming off ice. Of course, Henrique coming off a career-high 51 points a year ago. Combined numbers with Jersey and Edmonton. Chandler Stevenson won a cup in Vegas, won a cup in Washington, and now he's here in Seattle at age 30, first of a 7-year deal at $43 million. But here he's stripped by Henrique, and it's launched down the ice, and that leaves just a half minute on the Seattle power play. We're scoreless about 4 minutes in at Climate Pledge Arena on a gorgeous afternoon in Seattle, Washington. Temperature about plus 20, and nary a cloud in the sky. Sent in deep by Adam Larsson, the one-time Oiler. Chipped away by Mattias Ekholm, trying to muscle that puck out, and as he normally does, Janmark succeeds, nudging it back inside the Seattle blue line, and that will be all for the Kraken power play. Seattle 1-3-1 in the preseason. They were beaten in overtime by Calgary on Monday. That same night, of course, Edmonton bested Vancouver in a shootout 3-2. Good play by Skinner up the wall. Now Nurse to McDavid, and he whistles one high glove, but just wide. Rebound taken by Hyman. Coming off the wall, left circle, feeds Draisaitl. Draisaitl, McDavid on the ice after the successful kill. Draisaitl cross ice. That eluded Hyman, but not Nurse. Sharp angle shot, juggled and held by Philip Grubauer. And that's the story for Seattle, Bob. When I look at the Kraken, and it's been this way for a couple of years right now, their goaltending clearly holding them back, and it's again the story this preseason with both Grubauer and Decord sub 900 in the preseason.
It's crazy. You look at Grubauer, the 3 years he's been below 900, all 3 years in Seattle. He's got a career 911.
He was 918 in Colorado over the same 3-year stretch.
Crazy.
And he just hasn't found it. Not even close. Cleared up the left-hand side by Alexiak off the draw. We're back at 5-on-5. Edmonton in the white, outlined in orange and blue. This will be an icing call against Evan Bouchard and the Oilers, with 5 minutes having elapsed in this first period. Seattle, of course, in the emerald green and black. And in addition to their goaltending, they need guys like Beniers, Eberle, Burakovsky, Gord to return to form.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, drop-off was significant, but you mentioned the shooting percentage, and what do they call that in stats when that happens? Basically a version of a market correction. But you knew they weren't going to shoot at that level on a year-by-year basis.
We weren't sure they were a 46-win team going into last season. And this season, Bob, I can't say Seattle's only going to win 34 games. They've got a talented, deep roster, but they're going to need goaltending. Alexiak misfires on a pass intended for Tanev. Jared McCann, again, shaking up a big finishing hit behind the net by Eberle, and then the return pass from Tanev is off the mark, and he absolutely landed a big shot and then drew a penalty on the back side of it. Now we've got some pushing and shoving developing to the right of Olivier Rodrigue as a 10-man scrum winds up in the corner. But Eberle started it with a heavy forecheck, and he got a healthy piece of Mattias Ekholm. And Eberle, of course, gives up about 4 inches and 25 pounds to Ekholm, and then the retaliatory shot from Draisaitl got called.
Edmonton 29 has 2 minutes for cross-checking.
And that's a classic Leon Draisaitl preseason penalty.
Yeah.
He's not going to be too worried about exacting a little shot there. Our referees tonight, Cody Beach and Graham Skilliter, linesmen Justin Johnson and Bevan Mills, and the Oilers shorthanded for the second time already, and we've played 5.5 minutes. Draisaitl for cross-checking Eberle. And the Oilers once again with Nugent Hopkins and Derek Ryan to start the kill. This time, Kulak out there with Josh Brown. Face-off win for Jaden Schwartz, and the Seattle Kraken go to work here. Left to right. Brandon Montour biding his time. A top 5 defenseman in scoring a couple years ago, was banged up last season, but he returned for the playoffs and was ready to go. Burakovsky will wind it around the board. Shane Wright had a good season for Dan Bylsma last year in the Coachella Valley, but here's centering passes, intercepted and cleared length of the ice. And the Oilers will change. Nurse and Ekholm return And Noah Philp getting some penalty killing time alongside Drake Caggiula, who's had a good camp. Burakovsky sneaks down the left-hand side, finds Jaden Schwartz right circle. They'll drop it off in the corner. Stevenson in front. Schwartz wide with a pass that winds up on Burakovsky's tape. From the left half boards, he locates Schwartz. Then Burakovsky in the corner, pressure from Caggiula. Montour swung it back. Burakovsky saucered across. Stevenson put it into the feet of Darnell Nurse, got it back off a deflection, and found Montour right point. Peers inside, lets it fly. That was blocked, and now Caggiula's got it, and he'll launch it up the right-hand side. Drake Caggiula has had a strong camp as well.
He has, and he just threw a nasty little hip check in there and sent the Kraken player sprawling.
He told me he's learned to kind of use that sparingly. Doesn't need to throw his body into every single check the way he did in his first stint in Edmonton when he was trying to establish himself as an NHLer. He told me, you know what, I got a little reckless at times, and it cost me some man games.
You got to pick your spots.
This will be an icing call as Seattle's Vince Dunn misfires on a play up to Bjorkstrand. So that's icing, and Edmonton shorthanded for another 23 seconds. We'll get an ozone draw.
What has happened here, let's not forget, Stan Bowman traded for Drake Caggiula in a memorable deal.
Yeah, that sent Brandon Manning the other way to Edmonton.
Right.
That was very popular in the Edmonton community at that time.
That went over really well, let me tell you. And but, you know, I think that Stan's got a comfort level of Drake, and Drake's had a real good camp. And I don't think there's any debate, Jack. He could give the team, 7-8 minutes a game coming up from the minors.
Well, he told me he liked his season last year, but not his camp. And then he broke his hand late last season. It hurt Bakersfield. Kraken work their way into the offensive zone as the power play comes to an end. Napa Auto Parts penalty kill 2 for 2 already. A centering pass from Beniers was broken up. Sneaking down the left-hand side was Vince Dunn. Lost his balance and the puck. Bouchard did not get it out. Bjorkstrand in the high slot. Feathers one over to Borgen. He'll wind it along the boards. Bouchard anticipates, races over, cuts Everly off, and then, though pressured by Beniers, is able to maintain control. Tanev snuck down low, tried to pick his pocket. Travis Dermott was there with support, and he'll throw it back to Bouchard. 8 minutes gone by, first period. No score in the hockey game. Seattle has just 2 shots on net despite the 2 power plays. Lead pass left wing through the wickets of Jeff Skinner. He did get a piece, so no icing. Riker Evans back to his normal number 41. He gave it up a year ago to Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and that did not work out. Draisaitl forces it free. Gord with a beautiful feed, right-hand side. Ryan Winterton, he'll challenge Kulak, but could not execute a centering pass, and Kulak ends up erasing the play in the corner. Gord gets back into the mix, and now he's engaged with Kulak. Winterton on the puck and twisted off it. As I say that, the outlet completed successfully from Jeff Skinner to Leon Draisaitl. Takes a bump from Evans and forces it down low. Again, Evans, a player that Dan Bilesma very familiar with down in Coachella Valley. Of course, the Firebirds going to back-to-back Calder Cup finals. Lost an overtime Game 7 to Hershey 2 years ago. Overtime Game 6 to the Bears last season.
Coached by
Dan Bilesma.
And who coached Hershey, our old friend Todd Nelson.
Yes, Todd Nelson, and of course another former coach down in Hershey, Bob Woods.
Yep.
Connor McDavid. It's a pipeline. Dermott, right-hand side. Give and go. Bob Woods now an assistant for Bilesma. Centering pass, lead pass, left wing. Of course, Woods, so many years in the Washington organization. Nugent Hopkins from distance, and that's held by Philip Grubauer with 10.5 to play in the first period. The Oilers, a couple of successful penalty kills, and they've actually outshot the Seattle Kraken 3-2 in the early going at Climate Pledge Arena. It's Edmonton 3-3 in the preseason. They've got this game against Seattle Friday night against Vancouver, and then they count for real. Bob and I think it's real, and we'll come right back with more real play-by-play from Climate Pledge. No score, first period. Edmonton, Seattle. It's the NHL preseason and Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers ready. Face-off right side of Philip Grubauer. Noah Philp on the line with Caggiula, and Derek Ryan will take the offensive zone draw. Philp, a goal already in this preseason, is going to be chased out of the circle, replaced by Derek Ryan. Of course, they've got the U of A connection as well. Face-off won by Seattle. Larson to Dunn. Dribbled up the left-hand side. Tolvanen did not get it out. Neither did Bjorkstrand. Dunn to Larson, swung up the right-hand side. Shane Wright bottled up by Ekholm, who spins and fires it along the boards. Noah Philp back on the puck. Slashed away from him by Vince Dunn. And now Ekholm up through center. Philp defending against Bjorkstrand, and now creating space for Bouchard to wheel the puck up to first Ekholm and then Philp, who muscles it down low against Tolvanen. Have you been surprised at all by Philp's effectiveness in light of the year off?
Yes, 100%. The biggest thing is he's skating better. I'm trying to figure out how that happens when a guy doesn't play for better. A year and his stride dramatically improves.
Maybe a year less wear and tear enabled him to find an extra gear. Noah Philp at the age of 26. A long shot, but here he is in the two final preseason games, and he's in a lineup with Connor McDavid as the Oilers force a giveaway and actually nudge it off the side of the net. Good work that time by Connor Brown, and Grubauer is forced to freeze it with 9:23 to go in this first period. And we'll take another break quickly from Climate Pledge Arena. Seattle and Edmonton, no score first period. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. Seattle in the dark halfway through this first period, no score. Oilers coming off a second 49-27-6 year in the past three. They also had that record in 21-22 when they also went to the conference final. Arvidsson jumped in to take the circle after Draisaitl was chased out, but he saw the face-off squirt loose all the way back to center. Nurse gives it to Arvidsson and then gets it back and eventually locates a lunging Arvidsson on the right side. Gets some help from Draisaitl, who lugs it across the line. Now puts the brakes on right half boards. One-timer Arvidsson, and a save made by Philip Grubauer. Grubauer came in with a pedestrian .836 save percentage in the preseason. 46 out of 55. And his career save percentage against the Oilers is sub .850 as well. Up the right-hand side, it's Burakovsky. Turned it over, and off that turnover, Hyman to Draisaitl, heads for the net. Draisaitl didn't see him. He'll backhand one off to Matthias Ekholm and change. Ekholm got run over again, and Burakovsky starts up the right-hand side. Lead pass left wing, Jaden Schwartz in over the line. Montour fills the lane. Eventually, it's Chandler Stevenson. We come up on 8 1/4 to go. Scoreless first period. Bjorkstrand threw it around the boards, past Ekholm. Tolvanen slides down low. Boy, he can shoot the puck. Here's Riker Evans a shot, and that disappears into the glove of Olivier Rodrigue, who played well last year in Bakersfield. Won 19 games, finished with a save percentage of .916.
He was in the high 920s for the first portion of the year. Of course, they got a new goalie coach there this year. His father, Sylvain, has moved on. Kelly Gard, who was with Prince Albert for a number of years, is the new goaltender coach at the AHL level.
Shane Wright chased out of the circle. A lot depends on Wright's development, I think, this year for Seattle as well.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Scored 22 goals last year in the American Hockey League. Gets lobbed up the left-hand side. Now, you quickly go he'll be fine, he'll be fine. That's what you hear from Seattle.
No.
A lot of people consider him a bit of a suspect.
No,
tell me why he's not.
Because he's insulated in this. Look at the lineup. They got Beniers, who's got all the pressure on him as the first-line center. They go get Stevenson as the second-line center, and they got Gord as a fourth-line center. He's in the perfect spot.
Will Borgen unable to maintain the puck after the icing call, or after the save by Rodrigue. Seattle won the offensive zone draw, but Borgen couldn't handle it, and now Kulak and Brown will send a dart up the right-hand side for Drake Caggiula, trying to work his way down low against Evans, who cut the play off. Derek Ryan back on the puck for the Oilers, locates Philp behind the Seattle net. From out of the trapezoid, he'll locate Caggiula. Left point blast Kulak, and that handcuffs Grubauer, but he's able to make the save, his sixth of the night, with 7:23 to play in our scoreless first period. Edmonton, Seattle. I mean, Shane Wright, a lot of people expected him to go first overall, drop to fourth. His numbers are decent, not overwhelming, but you like his long-term prospects.
Yes, I do. I do. Now, that said, you know who was really happy that he didn't go number one that year?
So he's not Barrett Hayton, is what you're telling me.
No, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Barrett Hayton. You're a Slafkovsky. Jerry Johansson got a $60 million deal for him. That's the guy that ended up going number one. And as you recall, he had a pedestrian first half to his rookie year as a number one overall pick.
Lobbed in off the draw by Larson, and Rodrigues going to be forced to fall on this one with 7 and change to play in the scoreless first period. Tell you what, if he does have a solid season,
they're going to have a good team.
I think Seattle, if they get the appropriate bounce back from some of their veteran stars,
and they got some stops,
they're going to be a playoff team.
Well, they weren't just a playoff team 2 years ago. They
went to Game 7 second round. They went one game further than the Oilers did.
And they knocked off the reigning Stanley Cup champs in round 1.
Correct.
Which no one saw coming.
Off the face-off, and here's Eberle centering pass, and Tanev unable to knife that one home. Matthias Ekholm, right wing to Hyman, to the net. Poke checked away by Grubauer. Good save, and then a stop as he came up top to make the denial on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
I'm not sure how that's not a penalty on the net drive by Zach Hyman. I mean, he got hacked and whacked on his way hard to a goal there.
Couple of sticks in on the hands.
By Vince
and then it was Nugent-Hopkins that followed up Grubauer with a solid, effective poke check to turn away the first bid from Hyman.
Oh, this is the best we've seen Grubauer look against Edmonton this early in a game here.
I was going to say, it's also the longest he's lasted in a while. Now, he was out-dueled last spring. The Oilers came in here and won a game 2-1. But typically Grubauer...
Skinner played well.
Very well. And Grubauer had a decent second half last year, and then he got hurt. And that's the other thing. Seattle has not been able to keep its goaltenders healthy. Here's Ryan Winterton down low. Won a Memorial Cup in Hamilton. That is a junior hockey player. Cleared out by Connor Brown, and now stepping up is Dermott. His long shot, and that nearly fooled Grubauer, but he was able to juggle and freeze it. 6.5 to go in the first period. I'll say this. At this point, with Podkolzin and Perry on the trip, and I know what you're saying about Philp and Caggiula, and they've earned it. They've earned this last look.
Sure.
But I don't see them in the lineup next Wednesday. The guy that I think has an actual shot to be there, or is making it close,
Is Dermott.
He's
got to get signed first.
Of course.
Yeah. And he has history with Chris Knobloch, played for Minieri, and with Jeff Jackson. That was his agent. So they know him.
And again, I'm not taking anything away from Philp and Caggiula. I'm just saying, realistically speaking, when I read the tea leaves, that's what I see. Now, obviously, an injury could change that, too.
We'll get to it in another...
Schwartz in transition through the neutral zone. Burakovsky at one-timer Montour, and that hit some traffic in front. That might have hit Dermott left hand. Keep an eye on that left hand from Travis Dermott, if you will, partner. Yeah. Draisaitl with a giveaway, and now we've got a penalty, and it's a slash against Seattle. And the Oilers, for the first time tonight, will go on the Atco power play. Atco Energy, your trusted energy retailer, and it's Brandon Montour who will go to the box.
Well, he's shaking it off at the bench right now. Left hand. Here's another reason why you look at Dermott in that situation. Because the guys on the right side of the defense, Josh Brown, let's face it, he hasn't played at the level that he'd be happy with. Ty Emberson, I think the Oilers like him. He's been solid, but he hasn't killed it yet. Stetcher gives you what he's got, but that's opened up the window for a guy like Dermott,
who, of course, has played in the league 6 years.
Yes.
And that's the one thing you can't say about Emberson.
Right.
Talented, but unproven as of yet. Off the face-off, a clear by Seattle down the right-hand side. In the meantime, we've got a power play. Just as I say, hey, you can't discount energy or injury. Dermott takes a shot off the hand, so we'll monitor his progress. Draisaitl slides down the right-hand side, but relieved of the puck in the process. And the Kraken force it back inside the Edmonton blue line with 5.5 to go in this scoreless first period. 90 seconds left in the slashing minor to Brandon Montour. Bouchard right to left. Hits Nugent-Hopkins, now over the line. McDavid on the left half boards. Bouchard gives it right back to him. McDavid top of the circle. Draisaitl. One-timer Bouchard, and that was blocked. And the rebound deflected right to Larson. The block shot, Winterton. He was able to shake it off. I think he's going to be able to shake that one off. Bouchard Collects the puck. Draisaitl hits the on-rushing McDavid. Driving down the middle. He'll feather one to Nugent-Hopkins. Off the boards, Bouchard. Now stepping up is Draisaitl. McDavid coming out of the right corner. Bouchard high slot. McDavid top of the right circle. One-timer Draisaitl. Fought off by Grubauer. Protecting that far side of the net and allowing Brandon Tanev to launch one down the middle, and that will do it for the first Oiler power play unit. Second unit comes on. Darnell Nurse along with Matthias Ekholm, Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner, and Adam Henrique. Arvidsson wrists one down deep. Ekholm took a pop. Skinner ducks inside, and his shot rocketed off Alexiak and out of play with 4.5 to go in the first period. And no score in this hockey game. 26 seconds left in the penalty to Montour. So McDavid and Draisaitl playing tonight. Of course, we expect Friday to be a full dress rehearsal. That's 5 games.
5 for Connor.
So what do you think of that, Bob? Does that catch you by surprise?
A little bit, yeah. I would have thought Connor would have played 3 or 4, not 5. But after the start last year,
I thought maybe 2. Henrique off the face-off. Skinner kicks it back. Nurse in the high slot. Ekholm, and that hopped over the stick of Darnell Nurse. Grabbed down the right-hand side. Stevenson tried to shovel it in front. That was tipped away by Ekholm, and now Matty Beniers will keep the puck clogged up in the Oilers zone, and the rest of the power play time will elapse. So 3 combined power plays for these two clubs. And Bob, not really much of anything in terms of close to a goal for either team. Often the penalty kills ahead of the power play early in the season. And, of course, in this case, for both clubs, it's really the first time their first power play unit has been out there for an extended period of time. 3:45 to go. Nurse up the right-hand side. It's such a mishmash typically in the first week of camp. Drake Caggiula from Philp. A centering pass bounced around. Caggiula got a shot off, and that was blocked by Evans. And Seattle overhandling the puck in its own slot, but finally dug out by Bjorkstrand and chipped ahead for Tolvin. He gave it away at the Edmonton blue line. Kulak defending well on allowing Philp to muscle it back the other way towards Derek Ryan. He's promptly checked by Will Borgen. Kulak tried to soccer it down low, but Shane Wright busts out right-hand side. Josh Brown back defensively, forces a tough pass into the feet of Tolvanen, and Brown eventually able to backhand it out to center ice. 3 minutes to play, first period, no score. Shots are 9-6 Edmonton. Eberle twists one inside the Edmonton line, but that's all. Kulak to Brown, hard up the boards. That's picked off by Montour and sent the other way for Jaden Schwartz. Off injured Seattle winger, but boy, when he's in there, he can still shoot the puck.
And he's been an Oiler killer over his career.
Nugent-Hopkins able to redirect behind the net. Kulak long pass, broken up by the long reach of Alexiak, but he turned it over. Here's Nugent-Hopkins getting it back for McDavid. Feeds him, and McDavid off the skate, and he can't finish. You won't see that often. Dermott, right side for Hyman, cuts left and tries to center. That's out of the reach of McDavid. Serves it up for Bouchard. Got it back. Again, a bit of a bobble. Moved through 2 Kraken players. Kept it alive for Hyman down low. Absorbs a check and then tumbled to the ice. Beniers, blind pass, turned it over. Dermott, left circle, lines it up. Beneath the goal line for Hyman, using a screen from Dermott. His one-time teammate in Toronto. McDavid tried to dance through Beniers, wasn't there, and then McDavid took a penalty on Beniers. With 1:56 to go in this first period, Seattle will be awarded its 3rd power play of the night. A frustrated McDavid.
Edmonton 97, minor penalty, high sticking.
Unable to finish a feed from Nugent-Hopkins, then a turnover, then a high sticking penalty. And when we come back, Seattle will look to break the scoreless tie on the power play. 0-0. We're at Climate Pledge Arena, Edmonton, Seattle. Preseason game number 7 for the Oilers. And this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. Face-off, and the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill once again tested for the 3rd time tonight. It's Ekholm, Nurse, Derek Ryan, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to start. Stevenson on the left half boards for Seattle. Beneath the goal, a quick shot taken by Montour, right circle, a save Rodrigue, and the rebound sifted out by Nugent-Hopkins. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth high atop Climate Pledge Arena. And a reset for Andre Burakovsky and the Kraken. 1:20 to play in this first period. No score in the hockey game. Janmark did not get it down the ice. Here's Shane Wright. Burakovsky along the boards. Stevenson from the right corner out to Montour at the point. Stevenson, dart to the middle, intercepted by Connor Brown. And he'll drive down the right-hand side. The wrist shot fought off by Grubauer. Did not look comfortable in making that save as the rebound actually glanced off the outside of the post. Rebound for Stevenson, forced to back off as we dip inside a minute to play in this first period. Stevenson with Henrique bearing down on him. Joined by Arvidsson, Nurse, and Ekholm. That Napa Auto Parts penalty-killing quartet. Beniers to Jordan Eberle. Tailed off to 17 goals a year ago. Beniers went from 24 to 15. Cross ice. Bjorkstrand, a shot just missed. The left goal post. Rebound, Eberle. Dunn to Bjorkstrand. High slot. Dunn shoots wide. Rebound, Arvidsson. First stick on it. Did not get it out. Here's Vince Dunn. Bjorkstrand, left circle Eberle, one-timer done, and that was blocked up top and hacked down the ice by Arvidsson. That one caught Arvidsson, but he looks okay.
Bit him left foot.
5 seconds to go. Bjorkstrand in over the line. Beniers at the horn. A shot by Tolvanen broken up. And that will be all for the first period of play. No score in the opening 20 in Seattle with only 4 seconds of carryover power play time. I think it's safe to say that Napa Auto Parts penalty kill, a perfect 3 for 3 to start this game. And Arvidsson, as you pointed out, Bob, Vancouver will meet up Friday. We'll have it for you 8 o'clock right here on the Oilers Radio Network, 6:30 Ched in Edmonton. And that will be the final game ever on 6:30 Ched in Edmonton. If you're on 880, stick with us. 880 is where to find us, starting with the regular season opener a week from tonight. So we can't remind you enough. You're down to 2 games if you're listening on 6:30. Week from tonight, flip over to 880 if you haven't done so already.
It's been on 6:30 since the early 1990s. So it's been over, I would think it's got to be 28, 29 years minimum. I'm thinking maybe 95, possibly even 94. I guess that would be mid-90s, Jack.
That's okay, Bob.
Math is hard.
Nugent Hopkins against Matty Beniers, and we're underway to start period 2. The Oilers traveling left to right. Nugent Hopkins wins the faceoff, flips it in. McDavid emerges from the box, and we are now 5-on-5 as Seattle slides it down the right wing boards. Olivier Rodrigue playing tonight because Calvin Pickard got banged up in Saturday's win over Seattle. Rodrigue got the win in relief over the Kraken on that night. Pickard is expected to be okay for Wednesday's regular season opener in a backup role for Stuart Skinner. That'll be Stuart Skinner's first opening night start. And Skinner expected to start as well on Friday against Vancouver in the preseason finale, which will be the final dress rehearsal for both the Oilers and the Canucks, who met in the second round a year ago. We're going to have an offside whistled against Seattle here, coming over the line right to left. Edmonton beat Vancouver in 7 games in last year's second round series after losing all 4 regular season meetings, including one in the final week and a half of the year that probably cost Edmonton a chance at its first division title since 1987.
Well, it was a strange series. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers won a playoff series with their starting goaltender having the lowest save percentage in NHL playoff history to win a series.
Edmonton never was ahead in that series until Game 7. McDavid watches as Draisaitl hauled down on the left wing boards, and that will be a second power play for Edmonton. Victor is on the ice.
Alarm set for 6:30 a.m. tomorrow.
He's okay, and he exults in Draisaitl, his line mate's ability to draw the penalty, and the Oilers will be on the Atco power play for the second time this evening. Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and Bouchard, the usual suspects for the league's best power play over the last 3 seasons. Draisaitl, 32 power play goals a couple years ago. What do you have, 25 last year, Bob?
Yeah, not bad.
Here's Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, Draisaitl, McDavid left circle out to Nugent Hopkins, top of the circles, Bouchard, Draisaitl right face-off dot, slides it inside. Nugent Hopkins, a shot, had it blocked, and this will be a clear for Yanni Gourde. He elects to skate it out and then chip it behind Evan Bouchard. Travis Dermott also on the Edmonton bench, so apparently everyone okay. Draisaitl to McDavid, centering pass, and that missed time and stick. Draisaitl, top of the right circle as Edmonton looks to break the scoreless tie here in the early stages of period 2. Draisaitl, McDavid a shot, and somehow Grubauer able to come up with it. I'm not sure he saw it, but he made the save on McDavid, who scored 32 goals a year ago, and now an early look for the second power play unit with still a minute 18 remaining on this Atco power play, and Burakovsky in the box for hauling down Draisaitl.
Oilers with some different routes there on that power play. Nugent Hopkins sort of a middle bumper look, and then Connor McDavid dipping in, activating, sliding in for an opportunity.
Is that important, Bob, to show some different looks
absolutely.
and not be too predictable, even though you've got such talented players?
100%.
Arvidsson jumps in to take the face-off after Henrique was chased out. Skinner, Ekholm, and Nurse round out the power play quintet. Arvidsson bumps it down low for Adam Henrique. You've got Skinner. All three of these players have scored 30 goals in an NHL season, and Grubauer is able to reach behind on the right-hand side. So how about that? On your second power play unit, theoretically, you've got three forwards with 30-goal seasons to their credit in their career.
And then a couple defensemen that have had double-digit goals multiple times in their career. Without getting a lot of power play time, a lot of their goals have been at even strength. Nurse,
including last year. I mean, Nurse and Ekholm combined for 21 goals last year.
Yeah.
Off the draw. Ekholm has it tipped away, and now a shorthanded chance developing for Chandler Stevenson down the left-hand side. Couldn't control against Adam Henrique, who rides him into the boards, and then Ekholm comes over and polishes off Stevenson. Nurse emerges from that fray with a feed to Arvidsson. Left wing, he'll hit the Seattle line. A little behind Matthias Ekholm. Of course, they played together for a long time in Nashville. Very good friends off the ice. Turned over in the corner, and Seattle will launch down the middle, and now the Edmonton power play has dwindled to 25 seconds, and McDavid has come out. Skinner and Arvidsson remain out there. Skinner taken off his feet as he reached the Seattle blue line, and it's another length of the ice clear for the Kraken. Down to 10 seconds on this Atco power play. Ekholm looking to make a late chance. An opportunity for McDavid down the right-hand side, but Bouchard had it flicked away by Yanni Gourde, and now the teams are combined 0 for 5 on the power play tonight. Hyman tried to center, back at even strength, intercepted by Jamie Alexiak. He'll put it up the left wing boards. This should be icing against the Kraken, and there's the whistle. With 3 1/4 having elapsed here in period 2, Edmonton and Seattle, still no score at Climate Pledge Arena.
A little bit different look here. It's like you're going to have Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman a 5-on-5 shifting. They had one coming out of a penalty kill, first penalty kill of the game for Edmonton. And part of that was because Hyman was the guy in the box.
Bouchard is able to hold the puck in the zone off the draw. Hyman shadowed by 2 Kraken players down low. Bouchard across. This time Travis Dermott slugs it wide. Rebound McDavid coming off the right corner boards. Puts the brakes on, uses a screen from Draisaitl, high slot, then got caught in between pass shot and turned it over. And Burakovsky will dump it inside the Oiler blue line. We were speculating as to why McDavid is going to play 5 preseason games when many thought he might play 2 or 3, Bob. Is it possible he's just not feeling it quite yet and wants some more reps?
I think that's a fair assessment.
Beniers to Jordan Eberle. He'll dump it behind the Oiler net. Wrap-up situation, Josh Brown closing quickly on Beniers. Eberle twists down low for Bjorkstrand. Poke checked away by Kulak. There for Seattle is Beniers off to Jordan Eberle. Out to Borgen. Healed one wide on a one-timer. Beniers threw it behind the net. Kulak and Eberle collide. Draisaitl pulled it free, looking to hit McDavid. Taken away by Borgen, and then he fired it off his own man. Eberle crumples to the ice. Here's Beniers to Bjorkstrand. Centering pass, Eli Tolvanen. Bjorkstrand a shot. Blockered away by Rodrigue. Caromed off of Josh Brown. He's able to win a battle with Beniers and allow Hyman to clear back towards center. Hyman out there with Noah Philp and Drake Caggiula right now for Edmonton.
Hyman can't get off the ice. That's what's happened there.
He's pinned. Wanted to come off a second time, and now finally will get a replacement. And here comes the other member of that line tonight, Derek Ryan. Seattle able to float it down low. Josh Brown. Pressure from Tolvanen. Fends him off. Backhands it up the boards. Derek Ryan up to Noah Philp. Dashing down the left wing. Shadowed by Adam Larson. Pulls up. Hits the trailer. Dermott. Flashes to the right-hand side, only to have it poke-checked away by Chandler Stevenson of Seattle. Up to center, Tolvanen. From the red line, he'll shoot it in. It's going to be knocked down by Olivier Rodrigue. Nurse launched it up the left-hand glass. That'll bounce through Borgen and inside the Seattle blue line. 5.5 minutes gone by, second period. Still no score in this hockey game. Chandler Stevenson to John Hayden. Tried to go short side, and that hit the outside of the net. Out to the point, Riker Evans. His long shot tipped home. 1-0 Seattle. May have been Brandon Tanev on the drive-by in front of Olivier Rodrigue.
I'll just put the puck on the net. The Oilers had an opportunity earlier to do the same thing. The problem is Dermott, a left shot, was over the right side. He hasn't looked as comfortable, and he had a chance on a drop and delay play from Philp and lost possession. They came back up the ice, and just a real smart play. Riker Evans, he's got some offensive ability, and you're right, Tana with the deflection redirection.
Hayden had set a screen in front, but it was Tanev with the tip over the right shoulder of Olivier Rodrigue. 1-0 Seattle. Here's a blast by Ekholm from distance, saved by Grubauer, and we've played 6 minutes in this second period, and finally the Kraken have broken through. Brandon Tanev from Riker Evans at 5:52 of the second period, and it's the Kraken 1, Edmonton no score. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the preseason game number 7. The Oilers Radio Network. 50 presented by Rogers in support of Every Kid Deserves a Shot, shaping the futures of kids across oil country through the transformative power of hockey. And that 50-50 jackpot, an October bonus jackpot, continues to grow. By the minute face-off to Grubauer's right-hand side. Enrique wins the draw. Hammered wide by Ekholm. Rebound to Connor Brown, and somehow that stayed out. Just missed the left goal post. Ekholm with a hard check on the right-hand side against Jordan Eberle. But the Kraken are able to bring it through the neutral zone. Drop pass to Eberle from Beniers, and he curled one wide. Brandon Tanev just with a tip-in from Evans and Borgen, and that's given Seattle a 1-0 lead as we approach the midway point of the hockey game. Jack and Bob with you live in Seattle. We'll be in Vancouver Friday night, and that's an 8 o'clock Mountain face-off. Here's Enrique getting it back from Connor Brown. Can't finish. Short side against Grubauer. Rebound punched up the wall, but Beniers too soft to get it out. Winterton challenges Josh Brown. Evans comes over to cut it off. Jeff Skinner on the puck for Edmonton. Left corner tried to feather it in front for Arvidsson. That was disrupted and cleared the other way by Winterton, and took an extra shot from Josh Brown for his trouble. Brown, like Dermott, a 7-year NHL man. Here's Leon Draisaitl. Burst of speed around Shane Wright. But unlike Dermott, Josh Brown has a contract. Dermott on a PTO. Here's Josh Brown, right point. Thrust it behind the Seattle goal, around the boards. Battled for, controlled by Arvidsson. Tolvanen able to cut it off. Draisaitl digging in. Forced it free back to center. Brett Kulak, left to right. The Oilers come charging into the zone and quickly have to exit as Draisaitl had it knocked away. Now Bjorkstrand streaks in. Centers, backhander, score. Shane Wright. The turnover, Wright able to finish.
Well, Kulak went to play the play up the left side boards, and Seattle repelled it. And then a quick little interior pass as Brown came to angle off the man in support, and Shane Wright finishes it off. 2-0 Seattle.
Kulak jumped up, and once Bjorkstrand got through him, he was able to wheel and fire a backhand pass that Shane Wright was able to tuck home. A little spin and a backhander through Rodrigue. 2-0 Kraken. Oilers off the draw. Darnell Nurse left to right, gets it in deep for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Out there with McDavid and Hyman. Hyman forces a giveaway. A shot by Dermott off of Grubauer. Juicy rebound. Still trickling free and finally hoisted out by Adam Larsson. Shot back in by Dermott. Grubauer out to handle this puck. Kicked out by Stevenson. Jaden Schwartz backhands it in deep. Stevenson absorbs a hit from Darnell Nurse. Burakovsky looking to protect in the right corner. Slashed free by Stevenson. Bounced off a body. And now you've got Hyman left wing digging in and setting up for McDavid. Backhander right circle, and that's deflected away. Give Montour a second assist on that previous goal. Bouchard tripped up, and this will be a penalty on Seattle. McDavid to the middle. Hyman a shot. Left circle. Save Grubauer, and he'll freeze it as the Oilers poised to go on yet another Atco power play. Their third of the night. They trail 2-0 right from Bjorkstrand and Montour at 7:47. 2 goals in less than 2 minutes for Seattle.
Seattle 17 has 2 minutes for tripping.
But now Schwartz to the box for a trip. And the Kraken will have to deal with this vaunted Edmonton power play as the Oilers look to get back into the game 29 minutes in. No doubter, open ice trip. Schwartz against Bouchard, who kept his feet moving.
One of the things that's got to happen this year for the Oilers power play for me, and I know it's been really good, we know that, Nugent-Hopkins got to be a little bit more proactive shooting the puck.
Draisaitl wins the face-off. Here's Nugent-Hopkins down low to McDavid. Curling from behind the net. Right face-off. That one-timer fired off the pass of Grubauer and taken by Brandon Tanev up through center. And I would add McDavid to that list, quite frankly. I thought at times, and I don't know whether necessarily as it's floated in and Rodriguez to freeze it, it'll be a defensive zone draw for Edmonton. They're on the power play for another minute 41. But you wonder whether the 100 assists started to factor in. And McDavid's an unselfish player as it is.
The power play
but when McDavid and Nugent-Hopkins are shooting to go along with Draisaitl and Bouchard from up top, you've got a lot to deal with. Yeah. And then Hyman there to clean up seemingly all the loose change.
Jack's like a starting pitcher that's got 4 good pitches and he only uses 2 of them.
Yanni Gourde.
You know, that's what they used to say about you back in the day.
I don't think they used to say anything about me athletically. Sent in deep by Larson. Here's Connor McDavid up the right-hand side for Bouchard over the line. Drop pass, McDavid, top of the right circle. Feathers it back. Here's Draisaitl stepping up. A shot deflected off the pads of Philip Grubauer. I think Hyman got a piece. Nugent-Hopkins in the high slot, and he's drawn a penalty against Tanev. Here's a dish. Nugent-Hopkins fired from McDavid, and that was blocked. And with 9:59 to go, we'll have a second consecutive tripping call against the Kraken. And the Oilers will have a 5-on-3 for a full minute.
Well, you don't get a lot of these opportunities in preseason, so
you're not going to get many of them in the regular season either.
This work. Remember the first year Todd McClellan coached the team 15-16, and the Oilers had like under 3 minutes of 5-on-3 time through the first 40 games of the year.
So in the 5-on-3 alignment, Hyman and McDavid will stack the paint. Draisaitl does win the faceoff against Yanni Gourde, and here's Bouchard in the high slot. Draisaitl, left corner. Edmonton trails 2-0, midway point of the hockey game. McDavid and Nugent-Hopkins trading the puck behind the net. One-timer ripped off the post from Bouchard. That was from the right circle. Draisaitl on the left circle with a rebound off to McDavid. In the high slot, Bouchard across, one-timer Draisaitl, and he wrong-footed everyone, but he pushed it about 5 feet wide, clattered off the boards and down the ice. Rodriguez will swing it ahead to the captain, Connor McDavid.
This is the Ralph Kruger 5-on-3 power play with 2 men set up back behind the end line.
Nugent-Hopkins to Bouchard. Draisaitl top of the right circle. Bouchard, left circle, McDavid. Nugent-Hopkins tried to give it back to him, and that was tipped away by a reactive Adam Larson. And already the 5-on-3 down to 10 seconds. Here's Draisaitl lugging it in, fighting off Alexiak, borrowing his way to the net. A save made by Grubauer, a failed attempt at a clear, and Seattle may rue that. Here's McDavid to Draisaitl off the pads of Grubauer. McDavid left circle, tried to feed the front of the net. That was broken up. Came back to him, threw it across. Draisaitl to the middle. Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, Draisaitl one-timer score. And Edmonton whips it around and eventually gets on the board with Draisaitl finishing off the power play for his first goal of the preseason. The Oilers within 2-1.
They're so good playing.
Impossible to defend.
They're so good playing road hockey, right? That's what it is at that point. Once there's chaos and the puck's loose and it's just collateral damage trying to defend it.
It's over is what it is. I mean, that was just too much.
I mean, Leon Draisaitl has led the NHL in power play goals for the last 5 seasons, and he showed why there. They showed why.
The aggregate.
Yes.
Josh Brown fires it in from center ice. A quick clear by Vince Dunn will chase Edmonton back. Brett Kulak will shovel it toward the middle, intercepted by Matty Beniers. McDavid draws the primary assist on the Draisaitl power play goal that has brought Edmonton within 2-1 with 8:20 to play in this second period. Caggiula manages a clear through Montour. Beniers over the line, shot Montour, had it blocked up top, and that one hurt Caggiula. Still loose. Nugent-Hopkins, by the way, will get the second assist on the scoring play. And Caggiula streaking down the right-hand side with an Edmonton dump-in. Quickly advanced back through the middle by Eberle. Shane Wright, left side, Montour on his backhand. Tried to beat Rodrigue twice short side, and Rodrigue stopped both. Shane Wright, who scored earlier in this period, unable to do much down low, and Darnell Nurse will break it out with Caggiula. His shot rocketed out of play by a defending Brandon Montour. When that puck flies into the protective netting, the clock reads 7:35 to go in the second period. The Oilers have outshot the Kraken tonight 18-10. They trail 2-1, and we come back with more live second period play-by-play in just a moment. It's Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. Off, and the Kraken break out. Coming right to left, Shane Wright pulls up, top of the left circle. Little spin move on Nurse. He'll take it behind the net. Nurse defends him well, forces it loose for a moment to Draisaitl, who just scored on the power play to pull the Oilers within a goal. Dermott to Skinner. Nurse on to Victor Arvidsson. Right wing drop pass for Draisaitl. Tries to squeeze between defenders. His backhander is wide. Nurse tried to locate Draisaitl in front. Instead, it's Arvidsson to Jeff Skinner. Back to Arvidsson. Left circle. Fires another pass to Draisaitl in front. Redirected. Travis Dermott scores. We apologize for a technical glitch there. It is the preseason after all. But Travis Dermott bangs one in after effective puck movement, and that is the best the Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Skinner line has looked all preseason. And what a finish from Travis Dermott, point blank. Stuffs home his own rebound, and we're tied.
Oh, excellent activation there from Travis Dermott as he finishes the playoff. And you nailed it. 3-way passing play before the goal.
So Dermott able to bury it. And the Oilers have erased a 2-0 deficit. It's 2-all. Connor Brown out to Ekholm. Fires it across for Evan Bouchard. Center ice, Chandler Stevenson tapped inside the Oiler blue line. Shoveled in by Brown and swatted out of play by Will Borgen. 6:22 to play in the second period.
I mean, Jack, we should mention the Oilers are out shooting Seattle 21-10 here. They've been the better team.
And they've tied it. Seattle 0 for 3 on the power play. That hasn't helped their cause either. And Travis Dermott, we talked about a guy who might have a shot, an outside one at that.
Well, that'll help you.
And just the natural instincts, Bob, to go ahead and crowd the front of the net and tuck home his own rebound. Off the face-off, the Kraken bump it up the left-hand side. Draisaitl and Arvidsson with the helpers on Travis Dermott's first of the preseason. Like Josh Brown, I mean, Dermott's not known as an offensive-minded guy, but he was in the right spot, just natural instincts going to the front of the net. As Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and Skinner were really throwing it around, Bob. I mean, that looked like a power play.
Yeah, it did.
So you've got McDavid down low. Attack zone, Nurse shot, left point, sails wide, rebound, Vince Dunn. And again, we appreciate your patience as we grind our way through some technical difficulties. This will be an icing call against the Seattle Kraken as Nurse draws back. 5.5 to go in the second period. And it's 2-2. Well, at least it's not Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. No.
Yes. Oh, boy, that was a memorable
some issues, yeah. That's probably, would you say that's as angry as you've seen me live in person?
I mean, yeah. The thing is, you never see me that angry.
No.
Unless you watch Alabama give up a touchdown.
Well, that's true. Noah Philp wins the face-off. Here's Josh Brown winding it along. Vince Dunn backhands it up the left-hand side. Drake Caggiula tucks it toward the Seattle net, and that's covered by Philip Grubauer. 5:23 to go in the second period. Shots are 21-10 Oilers. They've erased a 2-0 deficit. Draisaitl and Dermott with the goals for Edmonton. Leon Draisaitl, a power play goal and an assist on the equalizer. And we got a brand new hockey game with 25 minutes to go. It's the preseason from Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. Oilers and the Kraken deadlocked at 2. And this is Fort Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. Season play. He's given up 2 goals on 22 shots tonight. Edmonton has limited Seattle to 10. Found themselves trailing 2-0 at the midway point of this hockey game, but Seattle's propensity for taking penalties finally caught up with them. Draisaitl knocked home a power play goal and then set up Dermott for the equalizer at even strength moments ago. Noah Philp racing up the left-hand side. Hits Josh Brown, but an offside. Unforced error. Derek Ryan, left wing. 4:56 to go in the second period. The game tied at 2. But what's most notable about the Dermott goal is, quite frankly, the 5-on-5 play of Draisaitl, Skinner, and Arvidsson, who really appeared comfortable for
that's the best
first time all preseason.
Maybe the first shift in the game on Monday night when they were out there together. They looked,
but they were wheeling it around there. I mean, that was the lead.
Yeah.
If the Oilers get a few shifts like that, they're going to be ecstatic with this newfangled combo. Skinner doesn't get an assist on the score sheet, but trust me, he was a major factor in creating that tying goal. Draisaitl wins a faceoff in the neutral zone. Arvidsson down low. Draisaitl left corner. This time his feed to Skinner broken up. Seattle wanted a penalty as Winterton went down in a heat. Draisaitl this time missed Arvidsson in the right circle. And a clear by Brandon Montour. Game tied at 2. Winterton reeled in by Brett Kulak, and the Oilers take over puck possession. Arvidsson back to Bouchard. 4:20 to play, second period. Arvidsson fell down. Might have been partially tripped by Stevenson. Jeff Skinner carries the puck down low into the attack zone for the Oilers. Right side, Draisaitl. Bouchard across to Ekholm left point. Bouchard in the high slot under pressure from Stevenson, and he coughed it up. Burakovsky at center. Good poke check by Jeff Skinner. Forces Burakovsky to just launch behind the Oiler net. Rodrigue will leave it for Matthias Ekholm as we come up on 3:45 to play in period 2. Nugent Hopkins will chip and charge in against his old teammate Adam Larson. Sent ahead left-hand side, Jaden Schwartz. Lift the stick of Bouchard, allowed Burakovsky to move it ahead for Stevenson. Drop pass, Larson at last, and that was deflected up and out of play.
Good stick, Ekholm.
A couple of years ago, Adam Larson exploded to a career high of 8 goals and 33 points. Of course, 5 of his 13 NHL seasons spent in Edmonton. This is 14th year. drafted 3 picks after Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in 2011.
Justin Schultz was on this defense last year. They've obviously, went out and spent a ton on Brandon Montour.
And that's a significant upgrade.
Yeah, Schultz was, by the end of the year, he was in the third pairing. I'm told Justin Schultz turned down NHL one-way deals. I'm not saying that was with Edmonton. And I'll be interested to see where he ends up here at some point.
Off the face-off, slashed out of there by Connor McDavid. He's out there with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman as Seattle's Vince Dunn takes an icing call with 3:21 to play in the second period. And again, the Kraken have just 3 shots in the period and 10 in the game. And we've played nearly 40 minutes. The face-off coming to Philip Grubauer's right-hand side. Grubauer in Colorado had a record of 66 wins and 30 defeats in regulation, played to a save percentage of .918. In Seattle, 49 wins, 61 losses. That's somewhat understandable considering you're talking about an expansion team. But the save percentage has gone from .918 to .894 in the same 3-year period. Here's McDavid off the draw to Evan Bouchard. This is following the icing call. Bouchard takes a wrist shot that's deflected a couple of times on its way wide. Puck rolls to Brandon Tanev, who opened the scoring. All the goals here in this second period after a scoreless first. Jaden Schwartz lifts it ahead. Tanev getting elevated with the late scratch to Jared McCann. That's troublesome for Seattle. All he's done is score 69 goals the last 2 years in a Kraken uniform. Seattle opens a Tuesday afternoon affair, 1:30 local time to open the regular season against the St. Louis Blues. That is just odd. It's one thing to start playing afternoon games when you're 8-9 games into it, but to open your season front end of an ESPN triple header. So an odd way to begin the regular season for Seattle. A dump in by Matthias Janmark and a clear by Winterton of Seattle. Clubbed in by Riker Evans and Yanni Gore against Darnell Nurse. Behind the Edmonton net, patrolled by Olivier Rodrigue, who's been a lonely guy for most of this second period. Seen 3 shots in 18 minutes. 4 players engaged behind the Edmonton net. Dermott trying to pull it free. Winterton looking to protect. Nurse works the wall for Janmark. Sandwiched by Hayden. And a clear left-hand side for Connor Brown. John Hayden's signature NHL moment, Bob.
Is it a fight?
The roundhouse punch that dropped Marcus Foligno. Here's Montour stepping up a slapper through Rodrigue, and he scores. Rodrigue got a piece, but it nestled just over the goal line through Rodrigue. Trickles over, and it's 3-2 Kraken. Montour belted that slapper from above the right circle and got enough on it to make it 3.
With 1 minute, 26 seconds left in the second period, the Seattle Kraken are beating the Edmonton Oilers 3-2.
I tell you, he's got to have that. I mean, they've got 4 shots on goal here in the period, and they got 3 goals. The Oilers needed a save there.
John Hayden will get the assist. He was not even supposed to be in the lineup. Montour scored 16 goals a couple years ago. Tailed off to 8 last year, but he missed a handful of games. And now Seattle back in front 3-2. And as Bob mentioned, 3 goals on 4 shots against Rodrigue here in the second period. Alexiak wrists it around the boards. Hard check by Drake Caggiula. Bjorkstrand right-hand side. And now fired through the middle. Tolvanen hands off Shane Wright. Great shot, score. 4-2. On 5 shots against Olivier Rodrigue here in the second period. Two goals in 35 seconds. Right second of the period.
Well, this will be a team that knows Olivier Rodrigue. You know, Rochelle Valley played a ton against Bakersfield down in the American League. Disco Dan Bilesman would have a scouting report on him.
Matty Beniers, after the draw, tried to hit Stevenson, taken away by Draisaitl. Ahead to Victor Arvidsson, back to Draisaitl, centering past Jeff Skinner, lays it off to Darnell Nurse. He'll wind it along the boards. Arvidsson out to Travis Dermott. He has a goal here in the second period. This one pinballs to the corner. Seattle looking to protect in its own end. And finally, it's Stevenson. Seeing a cross-seamer deflected, but harmlessly outside the zone. And Edmonton a reset back inside its own blue line. Stevenson with a giveaway. Draisaitl with 7 seconds to go. Moves it ahead for Arvidsson. Back to Draisaitl. 5 seconds. Arvidsson, one-timer save. Grubauer rebound. Still loose. And Dermott almost had a second goal, but he had it stopped. I believe Vince Dunn might have saved a goal there, Bob. Again, Dermott with the instincts to get to the front of the net at the horn, and he had a look, only to see it stopped by an alert Vince Dunn. And Edmonton sees the horn go and will be in arrears by a count of 4-2 heading to the final 20 minutes. A wild second period in the sense that the Oilers continued to outplay Seattle, particularly at 5-on-5. Back at Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena, Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you as part of our continuing coverage of Edmonton Oilers hockey once again on 630 CHED, although this is our penultimate broadcast ever on 630. We're going to be moving over to 880 in time for the regular season opener. So if you're on 880 already, perfect. You don't need to do anything. If you've gotten into the habit of finding us on 630, flip it over to 880, maybe starting Friday with the preseason finale against the Vancouver Canucks. We'll have that for you at 8 Mountain, because come a week from tonight, we'll be on 880 forever. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. 4-2 Seattle, third period, preseason game number 7 for the Oilers, who check in with a record of 3-3. Adam Henrique will take the opening draw against Matty Beniers, Matthias Janmark, and Connor Brown. Henrique's line mates, Kulak and Brown defensively, and Olivier Rodrigue peppered for 4 goals on 5 shots in that second period in net. Kulak staggers his way across the line after an opening face-off won by Henrique, but then he lost the handle on Brandon Tanev, who opened the scoring for Seattle, and the game in the second period relieved of the puck by Kulak, stole it right back. All 6 goals scored in that second period, 4 belonging to Seattle. The speed of Connor Brown negates a potential icing call on a stretch from Kulak, and now Adam Henrique leaves it for Connor Brown, right circle. Back to Henrique, gliding his way behind the net out to Darnell Nurse. Opening minute, third period, a shot sent wide from distance by Dermott, who has one of the 2 Oiler goals. The other came on the power play from Draisaitl. Henrique has it swatted away by Tanev. Matty Beniers collects at center ice. He'll make sure to get it in deep against Henrique and Nurse, and line changes coming for both hockey clubs. Dermott and Nurse, who've not practiced together much. This, of course, Darnell Nurse's preseason debut. And Dermott, a last look here potentially on a PTO for the Edmonton Oilers. Paired together tonight.
He's been good.
Skinner will shoot it in. Scored 1 goal, nearly had another at the horn at the end of the second period. Jaden Schwartz picks up a loose puck in his own zone for Seattle. Turned over by Montour. Bouchard steps up after making the steal to Draisaitl. Right side of the net. Takes it behind. Arvidsson, one-timer, and that was hammered off the right shoulder of Philip Grubauer by Matthias Ekholm. He got all parts of that 6'4", 215-pound frame into that heavy one-timer. I think that stung Grubauer a bit.
There's no question. He's shaking it off in the pipes there.
Montour will shoot it in. He beat Rodrigue for Seattle's 4th goal of that second period. Borgen unable to snatch that puck away before it exited the zone. So offside is the call against Seattle 2 minutes into this third period. The Edmonton Oilers trailing by a score of 4-2.
Well, we'll see how Rodrigue responds. giving up 4 goals here and 12 shots in this game.
Off the draw, Borgen steps into a slapper as he entered the zone from the right-hand side. Sailed it high and wide. Launched back toward the Oiler net by Riker Evans. Settled by Rodrigue. Kulak. Man draped all over him was Oliver Bjorkstrand, rather. One-time Columbus Blue Jacket. Borgen and Evans trade the puck in their own zone. Advance through to Bjorkstrand. He'll kick it back. Bjorkstrand's coming off a career year at 59 points last season. And that was one of the few offensive seasons that Seattle would say was above average. Eberle had a tough year offensively. Beniers, Yanni Gourde a little bit further down the lineup. Andre Burakovsky wasn't healthy again. Here's Adam Larsson from the right point. A weak little wrist shot flipped into the corner for Rodrigue, but nevertheless a save and one he badly needed. Lobbed up the left-hand side by Nurse. Settled on one bounce by Larsson. Right wing punch forward by Winterton. And here's Yanni Gourde. Ridden back into the right corner boards by Nurse. Gourde tried to stay with it. Eventually it came free for Derek Ryan. Noah Philp able to backhand it over to Nurse. And now the outlet for Ryan left wing. Derek Ryan, stutter step. Left circle. Outfoxes Larsson with a backhander short side. Flicked away by goaltender Philip Grubauer. And now Larsson able to reset with 4 minutes gone by in the period. Ahead to Jordan Eberle. Right wing over the line. Matty Beniers. Pressure. Tried to shovel it through Nurse. Unsuccessful in that endeavor. Henrique tried to reverse it through Nurse and over to Josh Brown. That did not pan out. And now Seattle able to free the puck up along the right corner boards. Hacked away from Janmark, who stayed with it and eventually located Brown for a clear up the right-hand side. Alexiak didn't get enough on it. Brown forechecking hard, trying to create a turnover. Alexiak given a second opportunity, this time ahead for Jaden Schwartz. Montour jumps up in the play. Schwartz takes a pass right wing. Peers inside looking for Burakovsky. Nothing there. Gives it up. Fired across to Montour by Vince Dunn. Stevenson. Shot from distance. Schwartz. Juicy rebound issued by Rodrigue. I mean, he put it right on Burakovsky's stick. No reason to. Not much on that shot, but gets bailed out by Brown's deflection on a pass intended to Jaden Schwartz.
Seattle's picked up the tempo here, Jack. I think Dan Bilesman knows they were very lucky to be up 4-2 after 2. The Oilers outplayed them badly. They're moving their feet here in the third.
Schwartz left-hand side. Dunn steps up with a wrist shot off the pads of Rodrigue. But there's where, as a goaltender, you can help your team out by not giving them second and third chances on shots that have no business bouncing off your pads. The Oilers are going to be offside here, coming over the line right to left. Arvidsson on a pass that was deflected was kind of lured over the line offside as the timing of the play disrupted.
All right, now, I mean, this is as deep into the preseason as Olivier Rodrigue's been here.
Which means more NHL quality shooters.
Yes. And he's a smaller goaltender.
Nugent Hopkins gliding off the draw, launching ahead for Hyman. That puck took a bounce, eluded Hyman, and was cleared by Shane Wright, who has a pair tonight for Seattle. Tolvanen in on the forecheck against Travis Dermott. Fends him off. Nugent Hopkins cross ice. Finds Hyman in front of the Oiler bench. Turned over and regained by Nugent Hopkins inside his own blue line. Oilers right to left in this third period, trailing 4-2. McDavid to Hyman, little give and go. Borgen over to intercept. Riker Evans with a clear back to center. Cross ice Brown had it tipped away by John Hayden. Loose in front of the Oiler bench. Wrestled free by Winterton, but cleared by Nurse ahead for McDavid. Pressure from Gourde. He'll give it up to Brown. Derek Ryan at center ice had it and lost it. Slashed free for Yanni Gourde. Nurse defending. Gord tried to change a pace to no avail. Nurse read it well. He's looked solid for his preseason debut. And now Derek Ryan and Drake Caggiula bust out right to left. Here's Caggiula down the wing. Penalty coming against Seattle. Centering pass, and that was deflected in the corner.
Drake Caggiula might be hurt here, Jack.
He went tumbling into the boards awkwardly and is struggling to gain his feet. And this, unfortunately for Drake, has been the story of his 9-year career. But this time he's able to rise and will skate off under his own power. In the meantime, we've got a high sticking call coming with 13:12 to play in this third period. The Seattle Kraken, with a 4-2 lead over the Edmonton Oilers, will be on a power play for the 5th time tonight. John Hayden to the box. 2 minutes for high sticking. And the Oilers down 2, but an Atco power play on the other side. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. Draisaitl starts the power play with a face-off win. Bouchard and Nugent-Hopkins trade up top, but one extra pass from Nugent-Hopkins eludes Bouchard, and the Oilers have to fall back to the neutral zone. Hyman waiting at the blue line as McDavid skates it in. Oilers 1 for 4 on the power play tonight. Here's Draisaitl with a drag move past Yanni Gord. McDavid from the corner out to Bouchard, right circle, left circle. Nugent-Hopkins gives it back to him, showing one-timer. McDavid instead tries the extra pass. The tip by Alexiak, the keep by Draisaitl, and now McDavid back to Bouchard. Draisaitl high slot, a drive, and that blocked by Brandon Tanev, and he's hurt. Draisaitl 5-on-3.5 right now. Fires again into traffic, and Yanni Gord is able to send it back to center, and now they're going to have to whistle this play dead, and Brandon Tanev, unable to put any weight on that right foot, will come off, and his night likely done. He doesn't want to go underneath, but he's being talked into it. And as a result, the Oilers away to face off in the neutral zone. Tanev again opened the scoring with a beautiful high tip over Rodrigues' right shoulder. Seattle went up 2-0. Draisaitl, a power play goal and an assist on Dermott's equalizer. It was tied at 2 with 2 minutes to play in the second period. But Montour and Wright scored 35 seconds apart, and that's where we sit right now. Kraken up 4-2. They win the neutral zone faceoff. Stevenson does the honors against Draisaitl, and it's driven up the right-hand side by Adam Larson. Oilers Atco power play. Back through the neutral zone. Draisaitl hits the onrushing McDavid, shoots into the glove of Philip Grubauer, one of his best saves of the night. Because McDavid got some good action on that wrist shot off the rush, and that high riser gloved by Grubauer. 4-2 Seattle, 12:06 to play.
This is the best Grubauer's looked for a while. I mean, you mentioned the game last year, post game,
but he didn't get a lot of work. That was mostly Stuart Skinner. Face-off win for Draisaitl. Nugent-Hopkins from Bouchard. Down low, left corner is McDavid. Circling the net using a screen from Draisaitl. Bouchard faking one-timer. McDavid another shot, and that one was blocked. And the rebound trickles out of the zone, and with 35 seconds to go on the power play, here comes McDavid up through center. Nugent-Hopkins left wing gains the line. Dropped it for Bouchard. Cuts to his right around Stevenson. Lets it sit for Draisaitl. Then back to Bouchard, top of the right circle. Looking for a lane. Draisaitl right face-off dot. McDavid on the goal line. Centering pass. Tip back to McDavid. Bouchard again. Faking one-timer. McDavid in front. Hyman tried to throw it to the middle. Broken up, intended for Nugent-Hopkins. Another attempted clear. Winterton did not get it out. Bouchard. McDavid in front. Tipped by Hyman off the pads of Grubauer. Nugent-Hopkins to McDavid. Left face-off dot. Loading. Dishing off the right skate of Draisaitl. He just was a little off with that pass. Was McDavid. Gave it back to Draisaitl, and this time fishing for a one-timer. Unable to make contact with the puck. And Stevenson able to wedge it safely through the neutral zone. Kulak gathers, and with 10:50 remaining in this third period, the Oilers remain in a 4-2 hole. Skinner from Josh Brown. Down low, right-hand side. First on the puck, Brandon Montour for Seattle. Eberle, open ice for Beniers. Left circle wrist shot and a save made by Olivier Rodrigue. His 13th of the night, 10:30 to go, third period. And Seattle maintaining a 4-2 lead.
Who do you think has been the best hockey player that's ever played in Seattle?
the best hockey player that's ever played in Seattle? Are we talking Kraken or ever?
Ever. Guile Fielder? You put him up there? For a while, he was probably the best player in the old WH.
Did Willie O'Ree play out here? Or was that San Diego?
I think he was in San Diego. Fielder was... And
what about all the Thunderbirds that came
Peter
through?
Nedved was a pretty good Seattle Thunderbird back in the day. Patrick Marleau.
Yeah, that might be the guy. All-time leader in games played.
Yeah.
Here's Tolvanen for the Seattle Kraken. And a shot let fly by Montour to the middle of the ice. A wrist shot deflected off of Eberle. Tolvanen took the shot. That one off the right skate of Eberle. Noah Philp able to come up with a puck. Kulak unable to barrel his way through traffic. Philp came back into Tolvanen, freed it up for Skinner, and a one-touch on to Josh Brown. They'll jam it off the boards, back through the middle. Vince Dunn picked off by Connor Brown to Josh Brown, and back to Connor Brown. Darting around Eberle. Pulling to a stop, top of the left circle, offensive zone for Edmonton. Adam Henrique behind the net, Matthias Janmark. Janmark and Brown, 4 goals, 12 points last year during the regular season, found their game into the postseason. Here's Travis Dermott again, finding himself around the Seattle net. He scored a goal, nearly had another. He and Connor Brown able to work. Again, former teammates in Toronto. Battled for, controlled by Adam Henrique. Here's Connor Brown, tried to go short side to Henrique. That was broken up and put into the protective mesh by Montour. They're going to say it was tipped, so no delay of game. And keep in mind, that's a rule change this year. If it's called a penalty, you can review it. The one thing you can't review, of course, is if you think it should have been a penalty. You can't challenge that. 4-2, Seattle. 9:10 to play, third period. Shane Wright with a pair for the Kraken. They lead by a deuce. We're live at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle with Ford Dealers NHL preseason hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
With 9 minutes, 10 seconds left in the third period, the Seattle Kraken are beating the Edmonton Oilers 4-2.
The Edmonton line by Matthias Janmark. Shane Wright rubbed out by Darnell Nurse. Wright has a pair of goals for Seattle. Kraken have never trailed, have led 2-0 and now 4-2. In between, Draisaitl with a power play goal and an assist on this man, Travis Dermott's game-tying goal. However, the game did not remain tied for long. Oilers bottled up in their own zone here. Nurse and Bjorkstrand grappling for puck possession. Adam Henrique joins the fray. To the right side of Olivier Rodrigue, who gave up 4 goals on 5 shots in what could prove to be a decisive second period here tonight. Oilers were offside as they came over the line. Henrique and Connor Brown, and Riker Evans will take advantage for Seattle, going on a skate and ultimately putting it up the left-hand side for Matty Beniers. Back to Evans. McDavid on the ice with Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman, and a turnover forced by Ekholm. Nugent Hopkins, left-hand side, reeled in a beat by Eberle, who of course broke into the league the year before Nugent Hopkins. For years it was Eberle, Nugent Hopkins, and Taylor Hall that often gave Edmonton the only glimmers of hope in one heavyweight matchup after another, with then Pacific Division stalwarts LA, Anaheim, San Jose. Here's Bouchard off the ruck. A wrist shot and a save made by Grubauer, and the rebound pounded back to center. Matthias Ekholm at his own blue line. Nugent Hopkins floats one back into the corner. Yanni Gourde will leave it for Vince Dunn. Gourde around McDavid. Lead pass picked off by Bouchard. Turned over by Nugent Hopkins in the middle of the ice. Brandon Tanev, who's back and apparently okay after taking that hard shot in the ankle. Went underneath, recovered, and he's back. Vince Dunn, miscommunication with Adam Larson, and Noah Philp tries to take advantage. Ryan in on the forecheck as well, but Gourde a clear to Tanev, and he bumps his way through by Brett Kulak. Drake Caggiula back to gather for Edmonton. Up the right-hand side, Derek Ryan did not get it out. Centering pass, and a save made on Alexiak by Rodrigue. A second chance, stopped by Josh Brown. And here comes Noah Philp the other way. A 2-on-1 with Drake Caggiula. Philp shoots, and that went off the goalpost. Rebound, Derek Ryan. Back to Dermott. Now Nurse biding his time in the high slot. Looks for a lane. A shot. Tip. Kajula. Philp a shot. Right pad save made by Grubauer. Philp 2 good chances in the last 20 seconds. One off the post and one of Grubauer's best saves moments ago on Noah Philp finding the puck in traffic. 6 minutes and change remaining here in the third period. Long pass will turn into an icing call against Dermott. Should have gotten a touch there. Did not. And the whistle goes with 6:05 to go in the third period. And I know you're in anguish, Bob, but Noah Philp continues to be in the right spots.
Yeah, no, there's no peace. He doesn't cheat the game. He's always there in defensive low support. He was perfect in faceoffs through 2 periods. I know he was -2. He stepped on the ice on the one long-range goal, and then Kajula went to the wrong man on the second long-range goal to beat Rodriguez, and he just made 2 great offensive plays.
Evans off the draw. A one-timer that went off the pads of Rodriguez. Nice play by Jeff Skinner to get it to Draisaitl. Arvidsson right wing. Trying to center. Broken up by Will Borgen. Less than 6 minutes to play in regulation. Edmonton trails 4-2. In its 7th preseason game, the Kraken came in at 1-3-1. This is their 6th and final preseason tilt.
Oh, yeah.
The Oilers have one more Friday night in Vancouver. We'll have it for you at 8 Mountain. Skinner, what'd you want to tell me?
Well, Riker Evans just cross-checked Leon Draisaitl. He keeps that up. He's going to be getting one back here at some point.
Chandler Stevenson streaks down the left-hand side. Around Arvidsson and Dermott. Heads for the net. Rodriguez waits. Stevenson eventually out to Larson. Now Vince Dunn. His shot. Swatted home. James Schwartz. 5-2 Seattle. And that should do it. You put the puck in an area, and I think it was Jaden Schwartz who got to that puck. Vince Dunn threw it into the area, and either Rodriguez put it in his own net or Schwartz got enough to deflect it by him.
Well, they've made him count tonight, haven't they? Yeah, that was Schwartz all the way, I think. On a deflection redirection.
I thought so. Seattle 5, Edmonton 2. Vince Dunn off the draw. The give to Tolvanen, and now Shane right through the middle of the ice. Well defended by Matthias Ekholm. Henrik knocked off balance. Dunn up the left-hand side. Tolvanen looking for Wright, who, of course, would be bidding for a hat trick, but he couldn't reel in that pass and is erased in the corner by Ekholm. Played back to Larson, over to Vince Dunn. Now Jordan Eberle. Wrist shot. Deflected wide. Schwartz from Dunn and Larson. And the Seattle Kraken, after Edmonton briefly tied the game at 2 late in the second period, have scored 3 more goals. 5 goals on 21 shots against Olivier Rodriguez. Grubauer has turned aside 28 of 30. Here's Connor McDavid working his way through the neutral zone across the line. Nugent Hopkins. Brown, a one-timer, was blocked. Rebound McDavid, left circle. Feathers it in front. Tipped by Hyman on net. Save Grubauer. Rebound to Jordan Eberle. Tied up with Kulak as we dip inside. 4 minutes to play. Kulak skating high slot, looking for a lane. Shot blocked by Montour. Rebound turned and cleared by Ryan Winterton. 3rd round pick of the Kraken 3 years ago. Kulak pulls up in his own zone, drops it off to Darnell Nurse. Friday's preseason finale, you'd figure the full dress rehearsal with guys like Corey Perry, Vasily Podkolzin, and Ty Emberson drawing back into the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. Stuart Skinner will get the call on the pipes.
Jack, I was a little surprised we didn't see Emerson with Draisaitl tonight, or with Nurse tonight. They haven't played together yet.
Yeah, especially since they've been practicing together. You'd love to perhaps get an extra rep of in-game chemistry. But on the other hand, it's hard to argue that Dermott hasn't earned the opportunity as well. Here's Borgen, a one-timer score. Set up by Tanev from the left corner. And Borgen stepped up to the right face-off dot and beat Rodriguez. 6-2 Seattle.
Borgen's going to be an interesting guy to watch. He could, Seattle, if they're a playoff team, they think the right side of their defense by adding Montour, having Adam Larson as a shutdown guy, and Morgan's a hard-nosed guy to play against. It's put up 20 points the last couple of years. He can skate. He's got a low center of gravity. And it's not a great goal. That's the other part of the equation. Jack, that's just not a great goal.
Tough night for Olivier Rodrigue. And we've got a penalty for interference coming against Edmonton here with 2:40 to go in the hockey game.
Edmonton 14.
Ekholm will go to the box. And we will take one final break from Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena. The Kraken have broken it open. It's 6-2 Seattle. 2 minutes 40 seconds to go. And a Seattle power play when we come back. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. 6-2 Seattle. 2 minutes 40 seconds to play. And the Kraken will be on the power play. And, of course, Dan Bilesma not necessarily looking to run up the score, but the fact remains there's still power play bugs to be worked out. Off the draw, Edmonton's Brett Kulak able to hammer it length of the ice. He's out there with Josh Brown, Victor Arvidsson, and Adam Henrique. Kraken left to right. Jack and Bob with you from Seattle and our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Scoreless first period. Oilers fell behind 2-0. Tied it on a power play goal by Leon Draisaitl, who then set up Travis Dermott for the equalizer. But Seattle got two before the break. Shane Wright scored twice in that second period. Led 4-2 after two did the Kraken. And they've just tacked on two more here in the third to break it open. Oilers force the Kraken out on the perimeter. Right, Burakovsky on the right side. Cross-seamer. Shot Stevenson. Save Rodrigue, who's given up 6 goals on 23 shots tonight. Stevenson with 1:40 to play in regulation. Wright thought he was held by Josh Brown. Jaden Schwartz, who scored the 5th goal, to Montour. Burakovsky. And now Stevenson. Left circle, cross ice. Burakovsky fired, and that went off the ankle of Arvidsson. He's blocked one on each foot now, I believe,
and
Bob.
He's hurting again.
1:20 to play. 35 seconds left on this Napa Auto Parts penalty kill, which has been a perfect 3 for 3 thus far. Vince Dunn. Matty Beniers. Left side Tolvanen trying to get around Dermott. Nurse, Connor Brown, and Matthias Janmark, who just raced over and from the half wall is able to swap that puck all the way back into the Seattle zone. Final rush on the power play for the Kraken. Final minute of the hockey game. Tolvanen, left wing. Challenged by Dermott. Kicks it back for Vince Dunn. Tolvanen, side of the net. Jordan Eberle crosses. Bjorkstrand could not handle that puck cleanly. Fumbled it briefly. Got it to Eberle. One-timer Tolvanen. And he didn't make clean contact with the puck. Might have broken his stick on the play, Bob. A clear by the Oilers up the left-hand side. Dunn ahead to Bjorkstrand. Final 30 seconds. Oilers are back at full strength. Nurse and Ekholm, Dermott, Noah Philp, and Matthias Janmark, the 5 skaters out for Edmonton. 3 D-men. Yanni Gord. Puck worked free. Janmark to Philp from center ice. He'll dump it in. Ekholm and Nurse will change, but it matters not. John Hayden will skate out the remaining 5 seconds with Will Borgen, who scored the 6th and final goal for the Kraken. They win it going away 6-2. Final shots 31-23 for Edmonton. But to give you an idea of the disparity in goaltending tonight over the final 2 periods, the Oilers outshot the Kraken by a count of 23-16. And yet 6 of the 8 goals were scored by Seattle. Final score 6-2. Shane Wright with a pair.
Yeah.
Brandon Montour credited with a game winner as he scored the tie-breaking goal with 1:26 to play in the second period.